G'day everyone, welcome to today's YouTube video. We got something a bit special for you today. This is Steve's journal.
Hi everybody.
Quote unquote journal.
It's my journal.
Yeah. It's actually not his journal, but it is a journal of sorts. It's his photography portfolio. So for those of you who don't know, Steve is my husband.
Hi.
He has his own business called Steve Lemonis Photography. You can see it on the front there. And this is his brand new portfolio that he had printed up, magazine style,
Yes.
that he's been requested to flip. So I thought, what better way to do it than to put it on my channel as a journal flip?
We're trying to make it all cohesive, right? We're calling it a journal
Well,
to make it work.
it's going to be great. We're going to chat through it, so get yourselves really comfortable. I think what's important to note is that, just like drawing in journals, taking photos and having them in this format, this is also its own creative visual art.
Correct.
And a lot of what you tell in here are people's real life stories, not dissimilar to what I tell of my own story in my own journals. You just do it with a camera, I do it with a pencil.
Sure. And I do think, like in art journaling, there is a level of fantasy that is attached to this too, because you can create a world, you can costume a world, you can design a world, and you just shoot it in a creative way that it becomes its own reality.
Yeah, you should see what some of these photos look like just outside the frame.
Yeah. It's a lot of smoke and mirrors, to be honest.
It's all smoke and mirrors. Let's get flipping because we've got a big book to go through.
It is pretty thick.
Let's first of all say that you got this printed through MagCloud.
MagCloud.
And the quality is absolutely stunning.
It's incredible. It's legit feels like a magazine, like a high-end magazine.
And you formatted the whole thing.
I did, with your help. James did help me a lot.
Helped a little bit.
He kind of got the foundation and got the ball rolling a little bit, and then I kind of just did a little bit of a plug and play and design, and
I love a good bit of self-publishing, I have to say.
And I definitely did learn a lot on my own. I just learned how to kind of just design it on my own through gain some new Photoshop skills as well. So I'm excited.
Well, let's start flipping.
Great.
This is also Steve's first journal flip. He just filmed a music-only one, and he's just stressed beyond belief.
Yeah, so it makes me a little nervous.
He doesn't know what he's supposed to talk about, and I've told him there's no rules. Just talk about whatever you think is interesting.
Yeah, so here's the cover. This image was actually taken on the island of Malta.
Oh, I thought it was Italy.
This is Malta. Well, I guess Malta is kind of close to Italy, right? It's just right off the coast there.
Colors.
So it's very interesting. It was very, very, very hot that day. And what I really loved about this image was that most of Malta is kind of this tan beige color, even the buildings, but you go to the beach and it's just vibrant umbrellas. And the water, of course, the Mediterranean is so just crystal turquoise blue.
I love that teal and orange.
I love the colors. Just grabbed me, and so I snapped a photo, and here it is. So that
it's your cover.
It's my cover. So this is Malta, and then we open it up, and this is a photo of me. This is actually from mine and James's Postcards from Home a la Vogue. It was kind of inspired by a Vogue photo shoot called Postcard from Home.
It's on your blog too.
It's on my
blog. Steve has a website. We'll link it in the description, stevelemonisphotography.com.
Correct.
But you can see some of these blog posts that are all stylized and everything.
Yeah, and this is kind of my own bio from my website that we put in here, and this is a picture that James actually photographed, so.
Yeah, you got my work in
there.
I didn't set any of it up. If you can see really closely, he's got his insignia.
Yeah, this is my logo.
So let's go and have a look.
So this first set of photos is actually from my what do we call it? My Practically Perfect. It's my Practically Perfect editorial, and it was very much inspired by Mary Poppins and Mary Poppins Returns. So it was the year that Mary Poppins Returns came out, and I thought, I could do a cool fashion editorial. And this is my friend Jessica, and so I pulled a bunch of pieces from various stores. And
did 3 looks, right?
We did 4 looks.
4 looks.
Yeah, we only showcased 3, but this was shot in Santa Ana, California, in front of. This is actually like a wedding venue, but it just looked very Cherry Tree Lane, and so this is her coming out of the sky. This was a fun photo. A lot of takes of her jumping, run and jump. And
there's even a video.
Yeah,
a video
behind the scenes video.
If you want to go to his blog, the Practically Perfect at the bottom. There's a whole behind the scenes video. So it's really unassuming actually, because this setup here, I loved this. It's just like some random little alleyway.
A little alleyway with bricks. So this is her coming in nanny look, and this is her chimney sweep look.
The governess.
The governess, that's good. But this one's also governess, so this is another one. This is her, just the polka dots were a lot of fun, and we kind of put a bunch of outfit pieces together to create this double skirt.
This was, I just want to mention, because I've been with Steve for a lot of this journey, and I think certain key things represent certain phases of growth for you that I would love to mention, because it's,
Okay,
I think it's important
sure.
just to kind of milestone it.
Yeah.
This was probably the first time you'd ever taken someone's photo with their head completely obstructed.
Yeah.
and
And-
Steve was just not, this was so foreign, the idea of fashion photography, fashion editorial.
Right, and also just in the bright light. There was a shoot that happened prior to this where I started shooting indirect light, which was very interesting, but then also putting this indirect light, I thought, I don't know if this is really going to work, but I love this little detail photo of her sleeve. And
Yeah.
it does work.
This is a lot of Steve experimenting with fashion editorial, because for the most part he'd been shooting
Weddings and romantic
lots of very
ideas.
light, airy photos, and so he was going into this more editorial, contrasty look.
Which was very difficult for me to really process and understand, because there was not a lot of sense. To me, it didn't make a lot of sense, but I think that's the beautiful thing about editorial, is that it just has to have a point of interest. It doesn't really have to make sense. And the fact that it doesn't make sense ends up making sense.
As long as you sell it
Sure,
confidently.
exactly. And there she is, selling it confidently. This is her Jolly Holiday look. We found a carousel in a park, a local park. They let us...
It was actually under renovation.
It was under renovations. It hadn't been working, and we just asked if we could get in there, and they said sure.
They
And
fully unlocked it and everything.
yeah, unlocked it. Nobody was around, and so there she is in her Jolly Holiday inspired look, which I love.
Such
this.
a fantasy to be able to
Yeah.
just get the free use of an empty carousel.
in a big park.
I love her laying and on the floor. It was just, oh, it's so good.
Yeah, it
Love
was so much fun. So this picture right here, these are some friends from church. This is the Kwan family, and this is actually an experiment in where the crease is.
The gutter of the book. Believe it or not, you can actually see poor Ed in there.
Yeah, so this is our friend Ed and his family, and this is their 5 kids, and so they wanted to do, for their Christmas card last year, they wanted to do a Tokyo Street style editorial. So
I
this
love
is
that. That's my fantasy.
so much fun. And then here, images from our postcards from home.
Who's that?
Who's this? This is my gorgeous, handsome husband.
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 Look at Oliver.
And this is Oliver just being the most... Where's Bianca? You didn't get Bianca in here. That's
no,
okay.
I didn't.
But yeah, so our house literally looked a disaster. And we set up the backdrop and the lights, and we just had it was so much fun. It was totally impromptu.
You wanted to practice portrait photography.
Yeah, and
I think this was that turning point where
Yeah.
you said, let's see if we can make it work.
Yeah. And
Because Steve didn't typically work with strobes
I
before
don't. Very, very, very rarely.
Always a natural light photographer.
And it was also hard because it was overcast that morning, remember? This all happened in the morning. It was overcast and rainy, and I thought we're not going to have enough natural light in the house. And we have big windows, but I got the strobe out, and we just kind of had a lot of fun with it.
This literally documents your journey into strobes, artificial lighting, portraiture.
Yeah.
It's really interesting.
Editorial, the whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. This photo was set on a timer.
I know Oliver took it.
All of it. These are images. I have a client who I've worked with for the last year or so, and she's a jewelry designer. And so these are the ads, the photos that she uses for her social media and for her campaigns and such. This was her spring summer campaign of 2020. This is my friend Sarah, who you'll see pop up throughout the book as well.
This has also introduced you to a world of product photography,
Yeah.
and I think
And styling.
yeah, styling, playing with all those editorials that you were putting together for the few years that you were doing that, I think gave you a really good idea of the fantasy of putting together,
Right.
marketing images that weren't just straight selling. Like to put something into an environment or onto a person to bring it such new life and like a point of view. I like that.
For sure, thanks. And this was kind of a fun picture. This is actually a photo. I'm taking a picture of a mirror. Her hand is a reflection in the mirror right there. And kind of everything that I learned prior makes you sell products in a fun and interesting, unique way. Yeah. These are my friends Chassie and Alyssa. This was their wedding. They got married in Joshua Tree last year, October of last year, so they're coming up on a year anniversary. And this was such a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful wedding and beautiful celebration. And these are a couple ladies that I work with, and sweethearts, both of
I love
them.
the moody colors.
I know, it's so good. I love them. They're just so... This dress. They love the Carpenters, by the way, so very appropriate. After we did our postcards from home, I started taking a portrait lighting class. And so we got into the studio with our friend Haley and, of course, Stella. And they were my first models, if you will, under portraiture. And so this was something that we used with natural light, and one strobe bounced off And that's kind of what all of this turned into, which was kind of a fun way to start out and to be like, oh, I can actually do this.
Pivotal day.
Yeah.
This was, I think, for artificial lighting, because you'd always assumed that it would never look like natural or
light.
soft light.
And it did.
And it's just, I mean, the skin, like everything was so smooth, and you were seeing it straight out of camera. It was really shocking.
It was very beautiful. This picture right here, she's actually backlit. Her back is to the sun, and then she's lit with a soft strobe, a soft flash. But it looks natural light, which I love.
Yeah.
And we also have, this is my friends Zeke and Jackie. Zeke was a friend of mine from work, and this is his wife Jackie. This was their elopement in Santa Barbara, and it was another one of those moody, beautiful, simple weddings. I love this. Taking
So
it across.
chic.
Yeah, chic and simple. Love it. So we go to church with these little guys. This was my Peter Pan, second star to the right, inspired portrait.
Very pared down.
Yeah, very, very, very pared down.
You were looking at Disney portraits in a relatively unassuming way.
Yeah, very
right?
simple, kind of chic, unassuming. If you knew it, if you understood that it was Peter Pan, you can see the Peter Pan. But if you didn't know it was Peter Pan, it didn't have to be Peter Pan. It just looks very whimsical.
Yeah. Also, maybe borderline Christmas.
Yeah,
But
for sure.
You made those.
I made the stars. I sat here out of cardboard and cut them up and glued them together.
They were an old Freshly box.
Yes. And I made the swords as well.
So cute.
Yeah, so this was a lot of fun. This is, fun fact, this is actually 2 pictures put into one, composited into one image.
They both actually looked cute in each separate image, but
Yeah.
they were both the cutest in those separate images.
Right, and so then I combined them together, but you would never know. This is another wedding that I shot a couple years ago. I thought it was so beautiful in these big fields. It was, sunset, and they just looked so pretty and romantic. I love it. Here's Sarah again. This was Sarah's wedding. I love this picture of her as a bride, or getting ready. That black and white to me is so chic and simple, and they're very much that 60s mod hippie type of beach couple, and so this was their friend's car, and this was their getaway Volkswagen van. So I thought it was just a really pretty picture. Got married just down by the beach. Here's Stella. This again is also taken on my first day of portrait lighting.
Giving you modern portrait.
Yeah, modern portrait with that.
The septum ring.
Yeah, and the flowers up there.
And the marble nail.
Uh-huh.
It was actually really interesting because I like seeing the juxtaposition of something quite modern against something really soft and
Yeah.
what you would consider to be like. I just think that just really juxtaposes nicely. I think it's really fresh.
No, it was so much fun. And Stella, what I love is that Stella is my go-to makeup artist, and she's been a very, very, she's one of the witnesses at our wedding. So she's
always around.
always around. She's always around. She's usually behind the scenes, so to get her in front of the camera was so special. And she looks so beautiful here.
Stella's always around in JLB Creative as well.
Yeah.
She went to Japan with me last year.
I love it.
So Stella's always around. But yeah,
Always.
this was like getting her in front as the model.
Yeah, she did a great job. This is another image from that jewelry company that I work with. Love this. The styling is so good. My friend Aaron styled this. Wonderful.
So you do work in collaboration?
I do work in collaboration. Here's another one of Stella from that same shoot. Look at her. Just slaying for days.
So good.
So pretty. Now this image is from, in 2015 I did a holidays collection.
That was kind of
Yeah.
that was when I first saw you getting like fully into photography
Yeah.
as a huge passion to just create.
Just to create, just an outlet. And so I did 12 shoots, 1 shoot a month, and they were inspired by various holidays or moods throughout the year. And every holiday had an inspiration. So this was my St. Patrick's Day Oh Danny Boy inspired photo shoot. So the story is 2 lovers in Ireland. That's it. And
Very well cast.
Yeah.
I'll say that.
A couple of friends of mine, I love their hair. The hair color is so perfect, and they just do the hills. It's beautiful. I love these pictures. So much fun. Some friends of mine, some maternity session. Look at her. She looks like a queen.
So glamorous.
Yeah, down at the beach. I love it. This is from our trip to Hawaii. James and I went to Hawaii in 2014, and this photo was taken at a luau.
I love all those colors.
Yeah.
This is what I'm sorry to take away from the photography, but the book, the printing, handling all of these like gradations and all the different changes in colors and the tones, like they did a really good job.
I know, I love
It's
it.
magazine printing, but I
Yeah.
think it's really high quality magazine printing.
I love this picture. You can feel it. You can hear the ocean breeze.
I can taste the cocktails.
This is more of Hawaii. This is on the North Shore, and this is just outside of Aulani. Look at that sun. It so gives me all the Bali High vibes. And these are some of my travel photos. So a lot of this.
That one, that light leak.
Yeah. This is at the Basilica, St. Peter's. And then this is Capri. This is, of course, Venice, Rome, Venice. And that was pretty much straight out of camera. That light just streaming in into the cathedral. It's beautiful. This is one of my favorite pictures I've ever taken. This is Venice at dusk.
We actually have this blown up onto a canvas
it's
in our home.
Huge in our home, and it's above our TV. I love it. It just gives me such a mood. This is, to me, is Italy. It's one of my most favorite pictures I've ever taken.
It's one of the first things I ever tried urban sketching too.
Yeah.
And I gave Steve the original.
It looks great. Here we go, more travel photos. This is at, what's the Meiji Shrine? In Tokyo, just outside of Harajuku. And some cherry blossoms as well. This was taken in a market in Mexico City, in Coyoacan. This was taken last year, just the papel picado I thought was so colorful and so pretty. Who's this?
I don't know.
This is James, and this is taken for Virtual Voyage that we did this year. It was during our Wizard of Oz week. And so James and I working together, collaborated together on these images, and this was inspired by the Saturday Night Live bumper photos. This was a lot of fun. I love that it goes from black and white to color, full color.
That was your first foray into that really heavily edited
photo composite style. Not easy. My eyes were going crazy by the time I was done with all of the colors. It was fun. This is my sister-in-law. This is James's sister, Siobhan. We shot these in Australia. This was out in the backyard, and then this was at Nora Head Lighthouse. We dressed her up. James did the hair and the makeup. He did such a good job.
She was... How old was she at this point?
18?
18?
Something like that. 18 or 19?
Yeah, she was 18.
Yeah. This is your coat too, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was my top. Steve asked if I could do some 20s inspired makeup to match the hat, and he said also a finger wave. So we were on YouTube trying to figure out how to do it. My sister had these blonde highlights that just would not quit.
Yeah.
And so I was thinking, you're going to get what you get. You can edit the rest, but it actually turned out really well.
So beautiful, and the light was so pretty too. Yeah, I love these pictures. She's so striking. Look at her. Just bam, how this profile.
I know.
So good. Siobhan's
You
so
make me
sweet.
homesick.
Yeah. Oh no!
Oh no!
My father-in-law took us out on his plane. He has a small little plane that we got clearance to fly over Sydney Harbor, and I busted out my camera, and this was shot through the window of the plane.
Of the little ultralight.
Yeah.
So crazy.
It's really just a lucky shot, to be quite honest. But all the light bouncing off of the water and the Opera House and Harbor Bridge, so cool. I love this image. Here's some more travel photos. San Francisco, Yosemite, more Venice. This is Capri.
I always joke that this looks like one of their Mac screensavers.
Yeah, like Ansel Adams.
Yeah.
Totally. I love it. Oh, so this is also from 2015. This wasn't really included in part of my holidays collection, but my friend Alex, she just had her baby Elijah. Baby was 11 days old. I said, "Hey, do you want to do this? I had this crazy idea. Do you want to do this shoot for me?" She's like, "Sure." So fresh baby, and I thought it's just so pretty, so beautiful. My father-in-law gives me a hard time with this picture. He goes, "You cut off her head." But I'm like, yeah, I don't think you need her whole head. I think this is the point of interest, the way she's looking at the baby.
I think that's one of the things you've learned throughout time too, because you yourself have prescribed to a lot of photography rules.
Yeah.
Especially with lighting. And I think even through your past journey through quarantine of having tried all this portraiture and this artificial lighting, I think even you have really relaxed on who cares what's happening as long as I get what I want.
Yeah, as long as it looks interesting.
Yeah.
But this is so pretty too. Like I hung up some Christmas lights back there and put some Christmas lights under the raffia, the hay, just to light it up a little bit.
There's a real like community around newborn photography,
Yeah.
and there's a huge safety aspect that I don't know if a lot of people are aware of. So it's something that I always joke to Steve about, but like I don't think either of us want to even tackle that
No.
more than a friend
Sure.
saying like, "This is my baby."
Yeah. My fresh, brand new baby. This is actually lit using an iPhone, but I think
Was
it's...
it really?
Yeah.
That's clever.
Yeah, I love it. Little Mother Mary and Baby Jesus. This right here is from... This is our Christmas decorations. This is our Christmas
That's our
tree.
old place.
This is our first home that we had together, our first apartment, and this was on this actual coffee table right here. And yeah, this is our tree. I thought it just looked so pretty, looked magazine worthy to me, so I snapped a couple photos.
And here we are.
Here we are, in a magazine.
Mm-hmm.
I always love to, I think this is cool to include gentlemen as well, because oftentimes the market is primarily for women. But it's also really, I like when you get a solid gentleman photo as well. Some friends of mine. There's Zeke again.
Well, I guess we should have mentioned at the start, this is not broken up into sections and categories. You'll shoot pretty much everything.
Anything and everything.
And the flow is just what you found and what you like being next to each other.
Sure.
So there's not necessarily a specific section and category to this. It's just a whole magazine of your work.
Just images.
Yeah.
I like these pictures a lot. They're very, to me, it's very Marlon Brando, old Hollywood inspired, little grunge. He did a great job. This is one of our first projects that we collaborated on together. This is based on the Swedish tradition of Santa Lucia, the holiday tradition where they have the crown with the candles, and so we kind of took our liberties and got little feathers with gold tips on there. And this was a dress from the op shop for what, $8?
It was actually a full dress.
We cut
off
up
the top and hemmed the top.
Yeah,
and-
behind her she's like clamped together
Yeah.
because the zipper broke, and you'd never know. This is some weeds that we found in the field.
We had a whole bunch of people collaborating on that. Other photographers actually. Steve likes to invite other photographers to be a part of these styled
Yeah.
shoots because it's fun to see how other people interpret the exact same setting and scenario
Yeah,
and
it was-
styling.
It's fun to collaborate for sure. This actually was taken in the same location as the Ireland, the Danny Boy shoot.
Even the editing changes between people, and
Yeah.
you yourself have re-edited old photos. And isn't this re-edited?
This is re-edited, yes.
Yeah, completely different mood.
You change, you evolve as an artist. You evolve. So the way you edit 3 years ago sometimes might change, and the story ends up looking fresh and different, and still just as unique and beautiful.
Yeah.
So Elise, this is round 2 for portrait lighting.
We're getting a little bit more experimental with
Yes.
this one.
But she's so beautiful and so much fun. Stella did the makeup.
So pretty.
Yes, here she is. I love this image. To me, this is very Richard Avedon, David Bailey, those classic, de Marchelier. I have Patrick. These are some friends of mine. These are their engagement photos. And this was also stepping into the world of strobes, trying strobes outside, which I thought came out really well. Some more engagement photos. I love this with the downtown LA skyline. This is in San Francisco. This is my best friend Cece and her husband Chris.
This is what you call lifestyle, right?
This is lifestyle engagement. This is portraiture. This is actually my mom. This is my cousin. This is my brother. These were shot in my parents' garage. I painted these canvases, and my mom needed some updated pictures, and so I was like, yeah, go ahead, step up. I love this picture of her. This was shot outside in my parents' backyard. These are also my cousins. Again, shot in the backyard. So pretty.
So pretty. This is probably one of the more recent looks at so the postcards from home, that first blog that we were saying, we got
Yeah.
into strobes and like looking at artificial lighting and portraiture. This is some of the more recent work. So you can see even through the past 6 months, do you notice how far you've come even in that?
What a change, what a shift. And I think I had more of a point of interest here too. I knew that I wanted to have an Annie Leibovitz inspired lighting outdoor shoot. So I felt very successful with this.
I think that's one of the things that, I mean, we can talk about this afterwards, we can just chat about it, but one of the things that you found like more beneficial for you was to go in with at least a goal, and then to work straight towards that goal and accept whatever happens along the way.
Right, because then you, instead of trying to be a little bit more open-minded about it, like, oh, it's just going to be whatever. When you have a goal, then you get more happy accidents on the way there.
Yeah, you're actually looking for a direction to go in. I don't think you're looking, because people think that if you say I want to achieve this, you're only setting yourself up for expectations,
Yeah.
and sometimes you'll be upset. And I think it's not so much a goal that you have to be able to nail it, but at least you've got a direction to go in. When you actually just go blind and you think I'll do anything, anything might come out.
Anything might come out, and it almost ends up being like a waste. It feels like a waste. So, but I was very happy with this.
Well, I only say that because this reminds me of that when Steve's actual goal was to paint some canvases and shoot his family in the backyard with an artificial light.
Yeah.
And when he did it, he looked at me and he was just like, he was actually disillusioned with this photo shoot when
Yeah.
he first saw it, which is crazy looking at it now. But he said, well, I thought it would turn out like Annie Leibovitz style. And I was like, well, the style is just in the editing and what you do afterwards.
Yeah.
But we have to acknowledge that you were actually successful. You painted the canvas, you took your family outside, you put an artificial light on, you shot them.
Yep.
So like you actually achieved your goal. What else do you want to do with it? And so he found this point of interest with this secondary goal to make it look like Annie Leibovitz style, and that's how that happened. So I think it's important just to say that like even that is a part of the process.
To not always throw out the baby with the bathwater.
Yeah.
That it can still happen. So yeah, I love this picture. They're sweethearts. Here we go, Sarah and Janae. This was actually
This was for me.
This
but-
is for James when we did Mermaid Fathoms Below for Virtual Voyage.
we were doing reference photos.
Yeah, we used Sarah and Janae, and then we thought, well, since we have them here, hey ladies, bring some fun outfits, and let's try some editorial style shots. So this was actually a foray into different types of lighting as well, a little bit more bright and bold,
A little bit more crisp.
I love these images. They're so good.
So, that was so much fun.
So much fun. I learned a lot this day. This felt like a very successful day.
What did you feel like this day was for?
This felt like this actually opened the door for striking editorial.
Yeah, I know there are photos coming, but for me, this was the first time I thought I saw you do work that you considered would be in a magazine.
Yeah, 100%. So I love this. Oh, this is from She Left Off the Page, version 2.
We did a couple of
We did.
collaborative art projects where I drew muses and then we made them come to life.
This was actually shot on top of our parking garage.
Yeah, there's a behind the scenes on this
Yeah.
too. You can see it on my channel.
It's so much fun. James made this dress and this veil. He said
The original drawing had little sparkles and
Around the
stars
veil.
around her eyes.
and I looked at him. I said, "Why are you making her like a romantic ghost?"
And he goes, I just don't think it's going to work. And I was like, I love it. I'm keeping it.
And it works. It's so ethereal and so beautiful. It's a Star of Wonder. James also made this headdress. There's some more pictures. So
There
pretty.
they are. I loved the little star ghosty
Yeah.
eyes. And she was so beautiful.
So
in it.
beautiful. So ethereal.
It's actually hard to believe that it was a parking lot.
Literally, there's cars right here and right here.
He had to edit out some of the red lights of the car.
Uh-huh. Especially this. There's cars back here that I had to edit out. But you'd never know.
No, it's so pretty.
This is the same dress. This was actually from She Left Off the Page, the first one.
Okay, the dress was from an op shop for about, what, $12?
Yeah.
And we turned it inside out, and I got a bunch of tulle and just hand-stitched it on top to
And
make
it's
it
so
look
beautiful.
pretty. So we keep repurposing it. At the
Yeah.
moment, it's now got about 65 ruffles on it.
And it's not done.
Steve will not be finishing that.
So fun.
These ones.
Yes, this is Sarah again, same from that same day.
It was the ones on the left where I thought, oh, this is where you started to validate, like, I can do editorial work.
Yes. Yeah.
And there was not much difference. Like, if I could, I wish we had documented the whole journey on film or something.
know.
Just because there wasn't, from the beginning of using the lights to that point, there were only a few key things that you learnt that changed everything. And it was all about, like, the strength, the bounce, the diffuse. And it was there.
Yeah, like when you put the elements together, it actually happens.
Who knew?
Who knew? Who knew? But it also helps that you have great models and friends who are willing to play.
Yeah.
Stella
Stella did
did-
a great...
yeah.
Oh. Jinx.
Yeah.
Stella did a great job on that makeup. Literally, I asked her for a lip color that she didn't have, so she made that out of eyeshadow
And
and
lip gloss.
lip gloss. And, I mean, Stella's always game for
Yeah,
just
for
chucking
playing.
it on.
And then Sarah, I remember prior to this, Sarah was like, "Can I just do something wild?" And we're like, "Yes, go for it." And so she did.
This was the same chick that we were just showing for the wedding.
Yeah.
That all boho chic. So I
Yeah.
think you can kind of see it here, this
Her
very
vibe.
cowardly lion, Dorothy aesthetic.
Yeah.
But in here, like even I had never thought that she'd be game for trying some more of this crazy hands on the face modeling. It was truly like a really fun day of just taking all these photos.
Yeah, we learned a lot about each other, all of us, that day. This is really great.
I love the.
So this is a client that I had. Her name is Lael. This is her first birthday celebration. In Korean culture, they have a first birthday party called a dol, and it's spelled DOHL. And it's a big celebration, and it's a lot of fun and a huge party. And so this is her in her traditional Korean outfit, and this is her as well.
I mean, they styled it amazing.
It looks beautiful. I mean, it was easy. They made it easy to shoot.
But it's beautiful.
And this is my friend Laura's little boy. This is one of their sessions that they had. And his name's, we call him BB. And he's so cute. Look at him.
Just so cute.
Okay, this was a turning point. This is my friend Jillian. This is our friend Jillian. And this was inspired by those perfume ads, those Italian perfume ads.
The Dolce & Gabbana.
Dolce & Gabbana, yes, exactly, with the lemons everywhere. And so this was photographed outside of our apartment pool. And this was something that I was very afraid to do. Prior to this, I'd always thought that I'm going to shoot in diffuse light or backlight, and I don't ever want to shoot in direct sunlight.
He even said,
It's
quickly,
not gonna
let's
work.
get out there because it's diffused light and I know the sun's going to come out. And I was like, don't worry about it.
And I was so nervous. And James did the hair and the makeup. And here she is, just taking it all in.
Basking.
Basking.
That's not my favorite image. I think it's good.
Yeah.
I love another one over here. Just Steve had never in a million years thought he'd be shooting in natural light.
And in direct light.
Direct sunlight,
yes.
sorry, yeah.
Like this. I thought, how am I going to meet her for that? The shadows are going to be way too harsh. It's incredible.
And we put this together the night before.
The day before, yes. The night before, we found a swimsuit. We went to the store, bought a swimsuit.
Got those sunglasses and a lemon.
Yep. Spent $20.
And then that white thing that she's sitting on there is a table that we edged over the corner of the pool. Like, she is literally balancing for dear life at that point. I mean, she would just fall in the water, but it was one of the pool tables that we literally, the corner of the pool is like this.
Yeah.
And we had the table
Just
over the edge of it so that we could get that shot.
And she's doing so good. And James, of course, coached her and just told her how to pose, and she really went for it.
Yeah, can I just say, like, none of these people in here profess to be models.
At all.
But
they like their picture being taken.
Oh yeah, they love it, and they work in entertainment as
Right.
well. But they're not like out here modeling. And so when we get together, we just play America's Next Top Model fantasy.
And they go for it. I'm so proud of my friends, and especially Jillian right here. She really showed a side of herself that's so striking and so beautiful.
Like, I just want to say, when I say bite the lemon, they say why. Like, they're not just doing this because
Right.
you know what I mean? So it
Takes
fun,
coaching for sure.
It's a fun journey to look at, to see even what people can become with a bit of that experience.
Yeah.
I love the experience of these photo shoots, because these are people that, like, if you knew Jillian in real life, this wouldn't be what you would think she'd be doing.
Yeah, it's unassuming of who she is, but it's also beautiful to see this side of her.
For me, it's just I love when it evokes such confidence. Like,
This hand right up here, her chin, it's so elegant. This is also so striking. How graphic this black and white is. This photo was another one of. I mean, this whole shoot, I was questioning every moment of shooting in direct light. I had no idea what I was going to do, and then I shot this, and I thought it's not going to work. And that's also kind of the beautiful thing about black and white, because when you put an image into black and white, sometimes it works in a different way and it evokes a different mood. And so when I saw it in black and white, I think it really stood out to me, and I love how it ended up turning out.
I think you also discovered cropping.
Cropping
in this photo shoot. Steve was very averse to cropping.
Yeah. I thought, no, you're ruining the whole story.
No,
You're ruining the whole
You
quality.
could save anything. You only like the lips. Cropping on the lips.
Yeah. This is also so beautiful. This was fun. Her on the edge of the pool. Sunglasses, so good.
Love that one too.
This just so striking. Bam, red.
Cropping. Creative cropping.
Yeah, all of these. I love it. Here's my friend Laura, and this is her little BB. It's her maternity session. I loved it. It's a full Italian fantasy.
Glamour of that maternity session.
Right? That hat, it's such a mood. Look at him in his little striped little trunks. I love it. Now this is one of James's favorite images.
I really like it. Steve wasn't even going to include it in something that you were doing, and I was like, why don't you choose that?
It does tell a lot of story, for sure. I think it's really beautiful.
I think you can, when you're first going through your roll of images, it's such an old term considering you don't go through the roll anymore,
Right.
but I think when you first go through it, your vision of what you captured and what you liked and what you maybe thought you didn't do so well on can kind of impede on what is actually there sometimes. So you sometimes take a step back once you've shot the whole day.
Take a day off.
Take a step back and then come back to it, because if it's fresh...
You have a clear mind. Here's why I think I have kind of a little bit of a problem. And I don't have any problems with this image. I think it's beautiful, and I think this whole wedding was a beautiful wedding. It's my own imposter syndrome that kicks in as an artist, where I was stressed out about the day. And I think any type of stress that I might have had, that I might have put into my own feelings of insecurity, I allow my own feelings of insecurity to paint that experience, instead of just looking at this and saying, oh, I am actually a good artist, I am a good photographer, and I had a very great instinct to take this image, which ends up being a very beautiful image.
I mean, I love it. It was so shocking to me that when you saw it, you were like, I don't know. But again, and I think you just said it, you can paint a certain feeling over your work and not be able to step back and see that.
Right.
What you do have there is still magical in its own way.
But I do love this. I love how she tied that bow.
Yeah, I wish I had a photo like that.
Yeah.
I don't know where my mum would be tying my bow on, but...
So this is actually from, I love this image. This is inspired by Baz Luhrmann's Romeo and Juliet. Some friends of mine, and so we did a little editorial.
You re-edited that one too?
I did re-edit this one. My first edit was very pink and light blue, and this seemed a little bit more fun. It's so beautiful.
It's just really nice to see that you're open to editing, like re-editing something. So I think some people would consider that to be, oh, you weren't confident when you first did it. But I think for me, especially as someone who doesn't prescribe to one specific style, I think it just shows a style change or a stylistic preference or a trend.
Or growth.
Yeah, or growth.
This was inspired by the line in the play, "And hand to hand is Holy Palmer's kiss."
Do you remember you used to put all the quotes over your images?
Yes,
Is that still on your Instagram?
Yeah, probably.
If you scroll back far enough on his Instagram,
you'll see quotes. Oh my goodness!
Text over everything.
I know this is from the 2015 holidays collection. This was inspired by, obviously Italy, hot August nights. La Dolce Vita is what I called this shoot.
So pretty.
A friends of mine loaned me their Vespa, and here they are, just living that full Italian fantasy. This is actually shot the same place where I shot the Mary Poppins.
Yeah, it's so random.
You would never know.
I just want to say, it's not bad that you had text all over your photos.
It was very
I just
cheesy.
think it's a very specific
what are you talking about?
I almost put it
all over here.
I know.
This is my friend Ariel. This is, again, portraiture. This is
another whack at it.
Yeah, I love these. So good. Very 90s.
Oh, I love that one. This one is my favorite. It's funny being the assistant to Steve's shoots, because you realize that, like, there is so much that goes into creating an image, and Steve is very collaborative.
Yes.
And so sometimes it's like, it's funny to see what he's stepping into learning. Like, he'll be learning the lights, but then he'll start learning the posing, and then he'll develop his own preference for posing as well. And I think you, more than anything, like the hands.
Yes.
You're always a bit more particular about the hands looking
nice,
the way you want them to look.
I think maybe that's the Disney, like, princess hands.
Yeah.
No, but I love this. This is my friend Ariel. Just look at that face, that smile.
What's really funny too is that when you were getting into posing, I was watching you, and this is a sign of someone who works in a service industry. But Steve was so much more worried about their comfort.
Yeah.
And what's funny is about this image is that it's incredibly uncomfortable. It feels awkward. It feels weird
to pose.
To pose, to even do that, to kind of grab your outer arm and sit draped like that with your chin all the way out. It photographs stunning.
Yeah.
But it is incredibly uncomfortable to do some of these poses.
Sure.
And I think that was funny when you were like, well, we can get rid of the comfort for a second because these images are really great.
Yeah, it's like keep going.
Yeah. I don't care
Stick
if you're
that
upset.
chin out. This is also like move that shoulder forward.
Yeah.
Keep going.
Further.
Elongate that neck.
It is really fun though, and I fully understand the stereotype of the photographer that shouts at the models, like,
Yes.
keep going, yes, give me more of that. Because you do get into that kind of rhythm where you're
Absolutely.
seeing it.
Well, you see it because then you get this, and this is so pretty.
Ariel's
I love
not the type to be photographed like this either.
No, but like stunning. It's striking. She's striking.
I want you to do before and afters in
I
the
should.
future.
I should.
Just because I think it's nice to see just how different some of these people have transformed.
Right. You see the full story
Yeah.
behind it. This is another collection. This is from the Quan's family shoe. Again, Stella Haley right here. Who's that?
Me.
And this is from a client, some client work that I did as well. This is us from Virtual Voyage. So fun. That wig. This is actually a photo composite. This is two different images put into one. Little fun fact. This is some kid shoots. This is Elijah. This is actually baby Jesus. This is him a year later.
They grow so quickly.
I love this.
Piper.
The Piper in her teacup. This is Eli playing Legos. This is one of the first images I ever took years ago. He's now very grown. How fun. Some more family photos. This is my brother and his wife. This is they're pregnant with their first son, our nephew.
I love how soft that is.
Yeah.
I think these are special, and I think why most people buy photography is for moments like this that won't ever be the same again. These kids will never be this age again.
Right.
This will, that baby will never be in there again. It's like that moment. It's that Kodak moment.
Yeah,
I guess. People call it.
caught in time.
Do you like that about photography?
Well, to me, what I love about it is that you're capturing one moment in time and it tells a story that you can always you have proof of that story. And I think in the moment, sometimes when you look at photography, you think, oh, I don't want to take this picture. But then life happens and life goes on and things move forward. And all of a sudden, a year later, you can say, I'm so thankful that I have that picture.
Oh, we just had this talk the other day. Maybe we can talk about that afterwards as well. But I fully agree. The value of a photograph increases with time.
Absolutely. And so that's why I love what I do, and I love that I get to tell these stories. I get to capture these stories and freeze these stories for people. And when you get the wind and the light and the hair, it's magical. Look at it. It's just beautiful how just the
I've always
angle.
loved that one.
This is some from holiday mini sessions last year. I love that little Father's Day moment. There she is. There's Laura with baby again. This is 1 year. He's turned 1 year old. 1 year old. 1 year old. It's a little photo shoot with them. This is also portraiture. This is another whimsical child portrait inspired by Alice in Wonderland.
So we did the Peter Pan, and this was another soft reference to Alice in Wonderland.
Where it's not literal, but it kind of is with that big bow.
You mean that understated bow? I love the bow.
It's so subtle. And the big flower. I love this tea set.
She actually had a little paintbrush.
Yeah, she
and
has
she was
right there.
painting the rose red.
Painting the roses red. She did such a good job
She
with
was
this.
so good.
How does she
She looks
4?
like a little doll.
Yeah. Little cupie. This is fun. This is Jillian again from the Acqua Dolce, from the pool and
Yeah,
the
that's
lemon.
more Jillian.
That's
I
more
recognize.
Jillian. Yeah, this is her graduate photos. These are also grad photos. I love this dress though. This what do
So
they call it?
pretty.
Gunny sacks.
It's really interesting. I became aware of this phenomenon of grad photography, graduation photos, when you told me about them a few years ago. But it's nice to see that you're even adapting to like youth culture of today. Like that, this down here looks very modern for something that, because it's back to what I consider you, where you started with your natural light, backlight, soft, light, airy, but even this has a bit more of a modern, fresh touch to it. So
Thanks.
I think you can definitely see how you've brought it in.
Yeah.
Like you've brought everything you've learned to what you originally knew.
No, thank you for saying that. I think this was actually also shot where we did the Ireland and the Santa Lucia location.
Oh,
yeah. So it's cool to kind of go back to these places, but also to go back with new eyes and a fresh take and a fresh understanding. There was moments where I thought, oh, I wish I had my strobes.
Well, you also, I mean, capturing these details and everything, I think that was, I don't think you would have been so inclined to do that back in the past as well. But even this angle, it's funny because everyone has preferences, right? But Steve's preference is to never go low.
Yeah.
He's
Never
always,
shoot from underneath.
Yeah, always kind of
Above.
eye level or above. And so even getting these lower angles just feels fresh for you.
Yeah. And it's just, there's a lot of story. And she was also such a mood. She really went for it.
Yeah, it's pretty.
A friend of ours from church. This is Queen Bee, Bianca. This is Oliver when he was a kitten. Love it. This is my best friend Season, her husband Chris, and this is their dog Samson. It's fitting. I love it. Samson, that big pup. This is a wedding out in the mountains. So much fun. I love this. And then some more wedding photos down at the beach. I love this expression. Such joy.
That's so pretty.
And then here's Janae again. This is also another one of those photos with my jewelry client who I work with. This was the holiday shoot from their holiday collections last year. She's just such a good model. She's incredible. It's just a lot of fun.
It's nice to have repeat clients to build that rapport and to also be able to offer some kind of consistency for a client. But for you to be able to expand on the what's it called? The brand identity.
Yeah.
I think you enjoy that as well as someone who likes to see that
revisit.
in brands and to notice that in brands. You enjoy also like creating that fantasy.
Yeah, and there's cohesion to it as well too.
Yeah, that's been an interesting challenge. I actually find my limitations, I'm terrible at helping with that kind of stuff. Only because I've never really cared about brand cohesion for myself.
It's a different type of creativity for sure.
Especially with the pieces of jewelry, they're so small.
Yeah, they're itty bitty. I mean, these are rings, these are little necklaces.
It's a whole other world to shoot stylized in macro.
Yeah, it's all macro lens for the most part, aside for these, of course. But any of the details, all macro. This ring right here is actually on top of that reindeer.
But I love that it's not just product photography. The product photography itself is beautifully stylized, like it would make me want to buy it. But then also you're evoking the mood of that with the model.
Yeah.
I think that always having a model with it has been really fun to see because I look to the model to see what the mood
What it
is, what the
feels like,
feeling
yep.
is, and then I look at the product.
Sure.
It's a great marketing strategy.
Thanks. I didn't come up with it.
We're very good at shooting it.
Thank
though.
you. This is fun. This is from an editorial. This was a Harry Potter meets Gossip Girl meets Scream Queens inspired editorial called
This was
Cadavra.
This was the first one you put together specifically to play with fashion.
Yes, this is the very first one, and so
There's a lot of memories.
there's a lot of. I mean, I even was asking for Hogwarts robes, and
He wanted to have them have drinks with
Wand
wand stirrers. Like it was, and he was like, "What's not fashion about that?" I was like, "I don't know. I can't get involved."
Goodness, but
There's a behind the scenes video of
Yes.
this too on your blog.
for sure. But this was a lot of fun. So this is Zeke again. He's the Hufflepuff. This is Chase as the Ravenclaw. Jessica, who is Mary Poppins, as the Gryffindor, and this is Sierra as the Slytherin. So you can kind of see that it's subtle nods to each of the houses.
Yeah, it would be so interesting to see you shoot this again. Because, I mean, even this, I don't think we ever even got a detail of the fact that she had a snake bracelet.
It's so ugly.
I'm sure you could have shot it in a nice way.
Yeah, I think it would be different to go back and shoot it now. But look at them. Even with how I shot it, look at, like, they're just all so in it.
Steve was so mad that I suggested that they wear socks with high heel.
I know, I don't think there's an image, there's a picture of it here, but Jess is also a stylist, so she brought in a lot of her own stylistic expertise, I guess is the word. And then James helps create this coat. We found this coat at the Goodwill, right? At the op shop.
Oh, I think
And then
so.
we just pieced it together with a bunch of different things that we had. Would you say it was inspired by Galliano? Right?
I don't know, I
Oh.
forgot. La Croix?
LaCroix. But there's an H on the other side, which is cool. Right, Hufflepuff. Yeah. So there we go. Look at them. I love it. And then here we are at the very end. Close out with Janae. This is fun.
This was fun because I think it was so pared back that it was literally just about, this is what I've learned about photography.
Yeah, and I really wanted, I had a very specific vision in mind for this picture as well. And I said, I just want a light on her face. That's it.
Yeah.
And so...
Believe it or not, that backdrop is white.
Is white.
It's a white paper backdrop.
Mm-hmm.
She sat on an apple box.
On an apple box, and we funneled the light using some poster board, some black poster board.
We put it together like a cone.
Yeah, and just
put it over a light.
Mm-hmm. I had just focused on her, and I just shot it. Poor thing was so blind.
Yeah. We actually put two see-through curtains to diffuse the light as well, to make it a lot softer. And then just pointed it straight at her face and was like, keep your eyes closed until 3, and then on 3 open them.
And it's striking.
I love it.
I love it. It's great. And
there you go.
That's
your photography logo.
Yeah,
Who did that all those years ago?
I know, James did my photography logo. That is my signature. So don't copy it.
You can put that on all your important documents. Yeah, I'm really happy with that. Thank you for sharing.
That was kind of a little long.
They're always chatty.
But no, thanks for indulging me, and thanks for kind of coming on this little journey. It's 5 years in the making or so, and I'm really proud of it.
Well, let's have a chat.
Okay.
We'll chat about some regular creativity and photography stuff.
Okay.
Now.
Sure.
And we'll leave this flip portion.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll chat about the rest here.
Okay.
Okay, we'll cut it in now.